Coach Halfley talked about wanting to have more involvement in the offense this year. What does that look like for you and him working to have a unified vision?
It's good to have a couple things. One, to get a good defensive perspective on what really gives people problems and what is just kind of not so much. Sometimes on offense you think, well, this will really get them, and it's not that great a concept. So it's great to have that feedback. He knows these players. He's known them since they've been here, however long they may have been here. So there may be something that he knows about a guy that I haven't, as much as we've been around together, he just knows more about them. That helps a ton too, because I think it's a lot about our personnel and getting the guys in the right spots to do certain jobs. And he's always got some good insight as far as that goes as well. So, and it's good to have, to be able to be in a position where you're playing kind of complementary football, so to speak. So where every game will have kind of its own plan in terms of the tempo of the game, what we're trying to accomplish in the game on both sides to try to overall win the game. So to get those lines of communications open now is better. I think it's always good to have the head coach come in and say anything to the team, to the staff, to the whatever. It just resonates a little bit more.
How has it been building with Phil since spring and into training camp?
Yeah, he's it's gone really well. He's really embraced everything we try to do. I think he's he's been in high spirits out here. He's been playing at a high level. He's kind of because listen, it's his last year to win as many games as possible to set his future up. So I think at first when you're like, okay, there's a whole new system. What is this going to be? There's a little bit of because listen, he's got a lot riding on it, and I think we've both gotten to know each other really well. We've had a great open line of communication the whole time. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you want to hear? We're out there today. We decided, hey, let's run a 2-point play. I just asked him, what do you want to run? And it worked. So because that's the communication I think we'll have to have on a week-to-week basis in terms of, there may be something I love in the game plan, but certainly there'll be nothing we can't do without. And if he's not comfortable with it, I'd like to know during the week. So I think that's been the best part about it. And then he's dove in and embraced kind of what we're trying to do because, he's got to run the whole show. He's got a lot on his mind every day, every play. And but his attitude towards it and the fact that he makes it work, obviously, is the biggest thing, that he throws accurately, he moves and finds people, and he gets the ball in the tight spots. I mean, some of the plays you look and go, okay, this is dead, and boom, he gets it in there and makes it work, So he's been great. He's been really changed in terms of his leadership, I think, too. I don't know exactly before, but I think he's a much more positive guy. I think he's a much more optimistic guy because you know how it is. They're all looking at him at some point, whether it's in the huddle, on the sideline, on the field. And if he's down or just irate about something, then they'll feel, out of whack. So he's been able to kind of put the last play behind him, good or bad, and go to the next one. And he's been really encouraging to a lot of our younger players, which we have a lot of them, and that's really helped.
How does his dual threat capabilities fit into your game plan or into your playbook?
He's a big, strong. He's a lot faster than people think, and I think there's a fine line in running a guy like that too much. Obviously, the history of, we want to keep him upright for all the games this year. That's number one. So in saying that, you can't say we're going to run the ball 20 times. But to have that, there's definitely going to be times in the game when that threat is going to be available. And I think, like at Georgia Tech last year, I think it took people by surprise. Next thing you know, he's 60 yards down the field. Nobody even knew he kept the ball. So that has to be a part of our game. And then his ability to escape and extend on third downs, that's a big part of our game. The fact that he's hard to get down. So I see that as a huge plus because his vision is really good when he starts moving around in the pass game. We just have to find the right balance of, we don't want to run him too much.
You have the luxury of inheriting a great receiving corps. Just what's it like working with all of them and getting them the ball?
Yeah, these guys, look, I think Darryl Wyatt's done a great job with these guys because really we have, I'd say the one position you feel like we have a lot of options every day, it's that receiver group. A lot of guys have made plays. Obviously we know about Zay, but Jaden Williams has taken a big step. Taji's out there, he catches balls every day, beats people and wins. Dino Tomlin's made a ton of plays. Dante and Lou Bond look like new guys, like different human. Like when I watch them on tape, I'm like, wait, is that Zay? And it's one of those two guys. Like they changed their body. They were always like A to Z, hey, whatever you want me to do. But now they can do it at a higher level. They're more powerful, they're stronger, they're catching the ball better. I mean, they're out there now still on the jugs and working on their route finishes. I mean, so they've spent a lot of extra time, and they use their summer wisely. I think sometimes guys, just go run routes, and they're running they're not with great technique, and they're not running great routes, and then you're like, these guys honed in on what they needed to get better at, and they've made like great leaps. I mean, so it's been exciting because, they're young. A lot of them are inexperienced, except for, really Zay, in terms of number of catches. But man, they're really good players, and they love football. They do anything you want them to do. They're very conscientious about everything. They want to do it right. Like, we've made a lot of like subtle tweaks to stuff. Sometimes we'll do it in a walkthrough. A lot of times those things, you get out in the field, you have to recorrect them, or these guys just do them. And then those things, I try to point them out as much as possible because they're important. That means that they're paying attention. That means they're locked in and really love what they're doing and know the importance of it. So there's a lot of that too. And like I said, I think Daryl's done a great job with them because they're really fundamentally really playing at a high level.
On Zay in particular, from day one, you said you couldn't wait to work with him. Now that you have for a while, I see everything you've done.
Yeah, I mean, he's more than. I mean, there's things he does. Like, I used to think, we said that when I was in Arizona, we should keep all these things Larry Fitzgerald does in practice on a reel, which stupidly we never did, because you just see things and go, like, you can't believe it. He's so quick, he's so explosive. Even some of the routes where you have depths that are pretty much universal throughout football, for him, you have to think about how we're going to do this because he's so fast. And I mean, next thing you know, he's outflanked everybody. He's too far down the field or too far outside or too far. So he's that quick. I mean, he catches everything. I don't even think he sweats in practice. Like, I never see anything like this guy. Like, he goes up and down. It's 100 degrees. It doesn't matter. And he talks to you like nothing's going on. He's never out of breath. He's just a phenomenal athlete and player. And his attitude is so up every day. All it does is bring everybody else up around him. I think it's been a big part of the reason, like you talked about Darryl, but I think Zay is a big part of the reason why those guys, and first of all, you feel like you have to play at a high level because you're playing with a great player, but he's such a great guy and he's so helpful to them. I mean, I think he's done a lot to kind of bring them along because he realizes, like, we need as many guys as possible to go through a long season. So physically, he's been ridiculous, and then I think as a leader, just his personality has really changed that whole group and really the offense. It kind of lifts us up every day. And then obviously what he did in the summer, it goes without saying, is it's beyond anything that I don't know if any of us would have. That's a lot of money. He's, so we owe it to him to make sure he has a great year as well. We're going to do everything we can to set him up for success.
And just
That's all we got time for, guys.
Oh,